This is the TT Artisan 10mm f2.0 lens we just bought for the Canon R50V. Initially, we told ourselves that we won't buy any RF lenses as this is just a for fun body for us to experiment with our older EF lenses. However, the bulk and size of using EF lenses really puts off the advantages of having a small video-capable body. Previously, we did have good experience with 7 Artisan lenses for E-mount, so we didn't hesitate and thought that for the pricing, this 10mm glass is worth the money. So far, it appears that none of the RFS offerings are faster than F2.0, and the prices for fast Sigma APS-C offerings are still easily 3 to 4 times more expensive. The closest being the Sigma 10 to 18mm f2.8. Before we move on to watch the footage, here's our first impression of the 10mm lens. The red dot lens alignment on the lens is off by about 5mm, but doesn't pose any issue except that you got to fiddle a bit to get it mounted on the R50V body. The manual focusing have got a nice dampened feel, and the aperture ring is subtly clipped. You can feel a bit of the grooves at the various f-stop markers, but not hard enough to feel the disruption for video application if you need to ramp up or down the iris. The aperture ring is a bit slim and hard to grip if one have fat fingers. The screw-on lens hood is of metal construction, and with it, you have to use the metal screw-on lens cap. It takes a few turns to unscrew the cap. Last but not least, it is very solidly built, and you can feel the heft. We leave you with some footage shot with this full manual lens. All our shots in this test have been set at 4K 25p, Canon Rec 709 stock color profile, and using 10-bit 422 HEVC codec. Opening up to maximum f2.0 aperture, we set our shutter at 1/25, ISO 1600. Our immediate thoughts after ingesting the footage was disbelief. We didn't expect this lens to look so soft. We even doubted that we might have missed our focus, but we knew we had done our focus peaking, and even check on magnification to reconfirm our focus points before recording. It could just have been that optically, this lens is bad at f2.0. To prove our point, here's a side-by-side compare of our second test, this time with a 1-inch sensor DJI Pocket 3. Field of view is different at 20mm, but both yields a f2.0 maximum aperture. The Pocket 3 is recording at the same HEVC 10-bit 422 codec, normal color profile. The DJI Pocket 3 is so much sharper than this R50V with 10mm lens combo. Dissatisfied that this piece of TT Artisan is far from the quality we've previously experienced, we've decided to do more tests in the day, where we have the latitude to stop down to smaller aperture for sharpness. Here's our sampler footage. We stopped down to the minimum at f16 to check the sharpness, and thought that the center sharpness is decent for a lens of this price, but the edge sharpness is performing quite badly. It's soft, and lots of aberration and color fringing. Here, we pushed in 10x in post to check the center sharpness, and here's the performance at the edge. Usable, but not wonderful. The subsequent 2 shots, we tried to compare shots at f2 versus f4. We had to use very high shutter settings as we didn't want to add an Andy filter. This is the side-by-side compare. Our conclusion for this TT Artisan 10mm f2 lens is that at f2, it's totally soft and unacceptable for our professional use. Stopping down to f4 or f5.6 and below will be better, but that kind of defeats the purpose of buying a supposedly fast lens if shooting at f2 is not ideal. As a for fun piece of glass, yes, by all means buy it to play, to test, to learn and fool around with its unique characteristics. Maybe it can pass off as a vintage glass with a certain kind of cinematic look. Every tool is useful if we know how to utilize it, work it to the maximum potential, and deal with the limitations and flaws.